What's up, everybody? Dan here from Headwaters Kayak, and spring paddling season is upon us. So I'm here with my friends at Active PT in Redding, California, and we're going to go over some exercises that are going to get you in prime shape for paddle season. Let's get into it. So I want to introduce you guys to Christian, who's been my physical therapist for the past, couple years?
Couple years, yeah. Actually, almost 3 years, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
He's been keeping me in the boat, keeping me on my bike, keeping my body fit and healthy and ready to go. And that's really what I want for you guys too, is use him to give you guys some tips to get you ready for paddle season this year.
Couple key things that I'll work with kayakers, paddlers that helps with longevity and then being able to stay paddling and doing what they love is we're going to look at flexibility and range of motion, and we're going to look at a couple strength exercises. The reason why those are important is flexibility and range of motion. Just imagine our pecs, our lats, our neck muscles, all those muscles that we use for paddling and pulling can get really tight. And imagine a bunch of rubber bands that are fighting us trying to reach, trying to go overhead, trying to lift the boat up on the top of the car. Causes shoulder issues, causes neck, upper back tightness. So we want to loosen those up, and then we want to make sure that we are working on some strength exercises to keep the shoulder healthy and so that it can handle all the paddling. So we're going to go over some of those.
Okay, let's get into it.
So one thing we're going to look at is your range of motion, and then we're going to give you some stretches for that. We want to be able to get all the way overhead easily without having to arch our back. We want to be able to get kind of out to this outside range without having, to compensate too much with how we move our shoulders. So first thing I want to have you do is just reach up overhead with both arms. Good. I want you thinking about going back as far as you can without arching the back. You have good range of motion there. That's great. Come out to the outside, reach back into this position. Good. A little bit of tightness through that right side. So we're going to work on like some pec stretching. We want to get easily straight up and down, if not a little past vertical. We feel the tightness. Yeah. So pecs and those bigger muscles will resist you.
That's my power arm.
Yeah, we're going to give you some stuff to keep working on that, okay? Here, I'm going to give you a simple lat stretch. Think about you're sitting in the boat, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to try to get a stretch. We're going to go for this right lat. You're going to reach to the other side of the boat and kind of grab on either the edge or the rail. Or what else would you grab?
Kayak, either your deck lines, maybe your cockpit.
Yep.
Just something you can reach and grab. For me, I have the deck lines. That would be a perfect place to grab.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. And then you're going to kind of lean back, let that back arch out. You feel the pull through tricep lat pulling through there. A little bit of upper back stretch.
Oh, it feels so good, actually.
And I would say hey, for recovery, hold this 15, 20 seconds to let it loosen up. Do 3 or 4 reps. After you paddle, after you're doing stuff. We would do shorter holds, some pulses into the position and back out. We don't want to do long holds. Yep, you can kind of pulse in and out. That's going to loosen you up and prep you to do the work without compromising your performance. Yep, same thing other side.
Oh,
cool.
It feels super good, actually.
Yeah, feel that kind of lat upper back, loosen it up.
Yeah, all through here.
Yep, so simple lat stretch that's really you can do easily in the boat. If you wanted to do it before, you could grab your tailgate or grab a rack on your car, lean back and let it stretch.
Okay.
Next one, we're going to use the paddle, okay? And you're going to actually use it to assist to stretch your pec here. So actually grab thumb up on that side. Yep. Okay. And you're going to use your left arm to help push right arm back into a pec stretch position.
Oh, wow.
Feel that?
Yeah.
Should kind of give you a good pull through the chest there. And when you're in that stretch, Dan, kind of think deep breath in, a 360 breath. Should let that pec kind of feel a little bit more tension and stretch. Then you come back out of that position. Same idea, pre-paddling, we could do some reps, 8 to 10 reps in and out of the movement.
Okay. After
paddling for recovering, we could do that longer hold, push it up there, let it hold, kind of breathe with it in position. Find the position where it's tightest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and let it stretch out. Doable?
Yeah, totally. I'm doing that as soon as I leave.
Try that other side, see how it feels, kind of same thing. If there's a pain spot, don't push through that pain spot in the shoulder. But we want that stretch through the pec, through that muscle that's coming down to our chest.
Yeah, I totally feel right through here.
Yep.
That's cool.
The next one that we're going to do is going to be a stretch for your neck. It's going to be super simple, actually. Let's take that out of your hand. I want you just to take your right hand, put it behind your back. The goal of that is it's going to keep shoulder and shoulder blade down. You're going to look towards that left side and then kind of bring your chin down towards your chest a little bit there. You should feel a good stretch through the neck in here. Mm-hmm. For stretch and upper trap. So you can show them that on the opposite side. Let's swap arms. Yep, we're going to come there. Lean head down and away. That's going to lead to a stretch through the neck right here. In your upper trap, The thought there is kind of keeping that shoulder blade down, add some additional stretch. You can always give a little pull with your hand. And you can even do like directly laterally, just coming straight that way. You feel that through like outside of your neck? Mm-hmm. So the same thing, you can play with the position there so that you're gonna start to get a stretch in the tightest areas of those neck muscles, which obviously we're doing paddling. We don't want it to blow our neck out, but can create some stiffness, tightness, tension there.
Yeah, that's one of the things that when I came to you, we were talking about a lot because I had kind of overbuilt up here because of all this tension and all this paddling and doing this for ever and trying to get myself to relax, pull back, tuck those shoulder blades.
Yeah, so trying to get the strength into the upper back, rotator cuff, shoulder blades versus it's easy to let that tension start to develop in the neck, long paddle. Mm-hmm. We start to have the tension that is there. A, we want to stretch it and loosen it up with this. B, we want to have some strength exercises for mid-back. So we'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, last one. Let's go on your knee here. Let's go left knee up in front of you. You're going to kneel on the right. What we're going to do is going to be a stretch for your left side of your upper back. So we're going to grab your knee with your hand. You're going to turn and pull like you're pulling a bow back on that left side. You're thinking shoulders are going this way. Hips and knees are staying either facing front or almost thinking like kind of keep it counter rotated the other way. You feel a little pull and stretch through that upper back there.
Yeah, I don't know if the microphone caught it, but my back just popped like 4 times.
There we go, there we go. So that, along with a little breath at the end of the movement, like we did with the other one, can be really helpful and effective for just loosening up that like stiff ribs and upper back. Really important part of healthy shoulder mobility.
Okay.
Cool for paddling. Yep, exactly. And I would say like do 5 reps of that. Breathe at the end of the movement for like a breath or 2 there with each one. Cool?
Cool.
Let's do a super stay in that position. We're gonna actually add a stretch in for hip flexors.
I was gonna ask because I feel like that's where I can get tight.
We're in, like we've been paddling, you're locking into the cockpit using those hip flexors a lot with that. So to stretch them there, bring that front foot out in front of you just a little bit more. Rock back just a little bit. I want you to engage core. You're gonna stay nice and tall, and then you're gonna weight shift forward so this back hip starts to come into extension. You gotta keep core firing, and you can even tighten that butt muscle on that left side.
Yeah, I feel that.
You feel how it adds more of a stretch to the front of the hip?
Yeah.
Where do you feel it at?
Right here.
Yep, love it. So that's those upper hip flexors that you're gonna loosen up just a bit. They're ones that can be worked a lot because they're stabilizing you in the boat.
Yeah, right. Especially if you're doing a lot of edging. Like you're in your boat, you're using those hip flexors all the time. And that is where I carry my most tightness.
Yeah, so the goal there, we're trying to get knee behind hip, and that leverages that stretch to the front of your hip flexor. It is an active stretch. You should feel like, hey, I'm consciously thinking engage abdominals and even engaging that butt muscle. So it's not just like we're arching our back out and relaxing into it. We're kind of staying engaged. That adds the stretch to the front of the hip. Feel that?
Yeah, how's that look?
Yep, look great. And I would say same idea. Longer holds for recovery after the fact, 15 to 30 second holds, 3 or 4 reps. Before you paddle, if you're a little tight there, just kind of pulse it just like you're doing there, in and out of the stretch.
Cool.
Cool? That's
super
kind
helpful.
of like recovery thoughts for any of those stretches. Longer holds after, kind of rep pulses prior to.
Cool, didn't know that, that's helpful.
Yeah, yep. Let's go on to a couple strength exercises that are super simple that you can throw into the mix.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, Dan, so I'm gonna give you a few strength exercises for shoulder blades, rotator cuff, and kind of keep things healthy and happy when you're paddling a bit. You can take a band this is kind of a light tension band. We don't need it to be super heavy. You can also use like those TheraBand style that's like, the flat ribbon. Mm-hmm. You can use that type of thing as well, totally fine. First one we're gonna do is gonna be super simple. Grab it there, palms up, maybe 2 or 3 inches apart, even a little closer, yep. You're gonna think tall posture, kind of cue those shoulder blades into that, in your back pockets, down in back position. Yep. We've worked on that, right? Little engagement there, and you're just gonna give a little pull apart. With some reps with this, you should start to feel like rotator cuff, which kind of originates here, runs the shoulder blade, starts to activate and engage, okay? Mm-hmm. Key there is just kind of the tension on there consistently is gonna be the thing that starts to get that fatigue with the reps.
Yeah, I can feel it.
So if it's super easy, you won't. If it's really hard and you're barely moving, I would say we want a little more range of motion like you're doing there.
Cool, I definitely start to feel it on the outside of the shoulder blade.
Yeah, couple sets, just get it fatigued. I tell people like 80, 90% fatigued. Yep,
all right,
get
cool.
the burn, okay? Exercise number 2, let's stand on it on your left foot. and then your right hand's gonna grab that band and your other hand's coming under the elbow. We're gonna come up into this little rotation up, and you'll just adjust the tension up or down based on how much you want.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a few reps there. Once we're done with that one, let's go into phase 3, which is actually gonna be just taking the band where it's hooked here, and you're gonna come up into a little overhead press. Think it's that shoulder blade, like mid-back that you're engaging with. Is that cool?
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yep. So just kind of activating that rotator cuff. We're starting kind of, hand down, palm down to thumb up, kind of thumb back position.
Okay.
Is gonna engage those shoulder blade muscles. That's it.
It's almost like a rotating when you're doing a canoe stroke.
Yep, so that's gonna activate, you should feel kind of shoulder blade, below shoulder blade and on shoulder blade activating.
I feel mostly at the bottom of my shoulder blade and kind of middle.
We wanna minimize any sort of like shrug with it. We don't want it to be a huge neck movement. It's fine to have shoulder blade move, like we don't have to keep it locked in, but we want it to feel it where you're describing, like below shoulder blade, on shoulder blade.
Okay.
With it, cool?
Got it.
Last one that you can do, we got a little fourth bonus one in. Hold the bands there, and you're gonna do just a simple row, okay? When you're doing this, you can do this with weights, you can do this with these bands, whatever. I want you to think about pulling till you're, like almost like you're scraping your elbow by your side. You're engaging your lat that's right there, kind of underneath your shoulder blade. Cool?
Okay.
So pull into a row, feel like you're scraping those elbows by your side. Can you feel like that lat is kicking on just a little bit there?
Yeah, for sure.
This one you could go heavier resistance with, right? Strong muscle.
Uh-huh.
Want it to be strong and engaged for rowing. So that's a super simple, kind of like little bonus one. Fire the lats. That's going to minimize your neck tightness and overuse. With those, I would say mixing in a little bit of flexibility, mobility consistently 2-3 times a week. Same thing with the strength work, making sure that you're priming the muscles before you're gonna paddle, I think is a big thing.
Yeah.
And then the goal would be doing a little bit of a stretch, maybe on big days after you paddled. The key though that I love clients to think about is I'd rather you do it once or twice a week than never. I'd rather have you do 5 minutes of a warm up and 5 minutes of a cool down than none.
Right.
So some people get such a complex warm up or cool down that they just skip it. So 2 or 3, warm it up, cool it down, is gonna keep you paddling really long term versus having a complex warm up and cool down that you do once a month.
Yeah, find your exercises that are gonna work for you that you'll actually do and get it moving. I know for me personally, my 20s I didn't have to do anything. I could just paddle hard.
Yes.
30s I started slowing down, and now I'm like, maybe 40 this month.
There
and if I don't warm those muscles up before I go paddling, I'm just, one, I don't get peak performance, but 2, my shoulders start barking at me a couple miles in.
100%. You're honestly, research shows you do a warm up, you're 30 to 40% less likely to get an injury if you do a good warm up. Doesn't have to be long, could be 5 to 8 minutes, but doing one can make a huge difference for your longevity doing something. Then not, I'm the same way, I'm 37 this year. I wake up in the morning and everything's a little bit tight, and so it's like I try to go run. If I go do a warm up before I run, feel amazingly better compared to not doing that and just trying to do it. So same applies with paddling and kayak, and just stay consistent with it. I'd rather it be a little bit than nothing, or a little bit than something super complex that we almost rarely ever do.
Yeah, for sure.
So
well, right on. I feel warmed up. I'm ready to go paddle. I'm gonna hit the water.
Love it, man.
Hey, man. Thank you so much.
100%.
Appreciate you guys. And if you're not already, go follow Christian. He's got an amazing Instagram with all sorts of workouts. He has paddle specific ones on there, and maybe I'll even drop a couple of those in the Instagram feed so you guys can look those up. If you have any more questions, leave them below in the comments section. If you're in Northern California and you want an amazing PT, come see this guy. All right, until next time, this is Dan wishing you happy paddling. We'll see you on the next one. Cool.
Good work, dude.
Awesome.